Okay, we are live. We are streaming. This is the Call-In Show. Welcome to the Call-In Show. If you've never listened to the Call-In Show before, here it is. You're listening to it now. It's me sitting here talking about something, and then you call in and I talk to you about something. This week, that something is weirdos. Weirdos. You know them. Everybody's seen them. They're around. They're all around. They're everywhere. They're hiding in every nook and cranny around here. They're in public. Weirdos, psychos, freaks, whack jobs. They're unavoidable. And, you know I'm familiar with the audience of this show. I'm sure we got some homegrown weirdos among us. And that's cool, too. We're going to be talking about weirdos. It could be yourself, your friends, or just a random stranger in public or in private. I guess you don't meet a lot of random strangers in private unless you're buying sex from whores. But, we could talk about that, too, if you want. That's what you fucking weirdo? Jeez. We'll be going to the phones in a second here, but I'll just share my most recent weirdo story. Had some, an upset lady at a coffee shop. Such a rare occurrence. You never see this. A lady getting mad at a coffee shop worker person because you didn't make her coffee right. I worked at a coffee shop. I've worked at a couple coffee shops. And I'll just tell you, this never happens. Women don't ever get mad at you for making their coffee wrong. Ever. No, so this lady was upset with this guy. He was like, he seemed new. He seemed fresh. English seemed like a second language. It was a sort of situation where he just didn't seem prepared for the hard-hitting questions that this lady had, such as, do you have whipped cream? Will I get whipped cream with my whatever hot drinks people order? I don't even know the hell of weird names, but I missed the first part of the exchange, but I was there and she was getting worked up in the corner. I could see because her drink was being made and there wasn't the whipped cream on it, and she was like, do you have the whipped cream? And he's like, no, we don't have whipped cream. And she was like, I specifically asked you if you had whipped cream, and if I knew you didn't have whipped cream, I wouldn't have got that. She was getting mad at this guy. And I don't want to sound like I'm defending this lady, but to be fair, I don't know about this worker. He was new. He was not on the ball. He gave me the wrong size coffee. I wanted a large. It was a large coffee day, and he gave me the medium, the regular. So that was strike one for me. But I wasn't gonna raise a rhubarb about it or nothing. I don't care. I don't care. Fine. I get the wrong coffee. That's fine. Anyway, this lady got very upset. She wasn't the weirdo though. She was. That's a normal. It's not good. But that happens. People get upset at coffee shop people. But when she was leaving, this guy who was sitting down in the coffee shop, he was like defending the employee, and he says, to be fair, this guy just started his shift, so he didn't know. And the lady was being dismissive to this guy. She's like, yeah, I don't fucking care. Like, I don't give a shit. And then the customer who was defending the employee just out of nowhere just goes, you know what, fuck you, bitch! Fuck you! Full on screaming. I didn't even scream as loud as he did. He went full psycho mode immediately. Like, she's walking out. And she's going, oh, fuck you. He goes, oh, fuck you! And, it was very awkward. It was very strange. And then he immediately turned to me. I was there, and he's like, oh, I don't know why I do that, I always lose my cool like that. I don't even know why that happens. It's just, I don't even have control over it. And it just, I know that it's weird, but it's just, people just rub me the wrong way sometimes, and I just snap. I just lose it. Immediately very friendly. That was what was psycho about it. Was he was like, if he had just gone crazy and then just went into full yelling mode, he could just be a normal psycho. But going full crazy and then way back to friendly, that was too weird. He was trying to really convince me that, like, I don't know what he was trying. He was telling me, like, about how he can't control this thing, this power inside him, this rage. Somebody stole all his clothes, I guess, a couple weeks ago, and he said he went into a 72-hour manic state where he was unable to sleep, and he saw the man wearing his clothes on the street, I guess, and he went into a full throttle nightmare mode on this guy. It was very strange, and I'm still putting the pieces together, and I see him on the street now, and I'm horrified of him, because he tried to, like, be my friend, and I'd be honest, I didn't have the heart to tell him at the time, you're fucking crazy, don't talk to me, you crazy, because I didn't want him to yell at me, so I was just like, haha, well, yeah, we all have our days, and, I've seen him around, and I've been trying to avoid him long enough that he forgets what I look like. That's my hope. I felt so blessed in that moment where that was happening that I could leave the coffee shop and never talk to this guy again. I felt very bad for the employee who just got yelled at by a mean lady, and then now he's got, like, this crazy guy who's just hanging out in the coffee shop trying to convince him, like, oh, like, I'm a good guy, though. I will look out for you service workers. It was scary. I'm still scared. I don't know, maybe he's fine. He's wearing all orange, which is weird, and whenever I've seen him on the street, he's wearing all orange, but different orange clothes. It made me think that, like, nobody stole anything from this guy, and nobody's walking around wearing his clothes. It's just, like, someone wearing orange. He just went crazy. Anyway, we're talking about weirdos today. Your weirdo encounters with strange people out in the world, or close to you in your life, or close to you in your brain. If you're the weirdo, I'll be the judge of that. You can call in now. The number is 518-288-7938. Call in. Talk to me about some weirdo stuff. Some sort of weirdo that you've been around. If you're in the city, you probably got some weirdo stories just right off the rip. I mean, it's every single day. Everyone is out of their frickin' mind, dude. 518-288-7938. We got the first call coming in right now.
Call from
Sweezy.
Sweezy.
Hey, Mr. in the Minute Hour. Glad I got a hold of you.
How's it going, Sweezy? We're talking weirdos today.
Yeah, I got a weirdo for you.
Okay.
Okay, so I was coming into my building about 1 o'clock in the morning after a good night with the fellas. And I get in the elevator, and there's this guy with a shiesty mask on. You know what that is?
No, explain that.
It's like a ski mask, kind of like covering everything except your mouth and your eyes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I've seen those.
And he said, What? I'm going to kick your ass, motherfucker.
In the elevator?
In the elevator.
What happened?
His girl dragged him out by the belt.
What do you mean? Like, he's standing up and she's pulling his belt?
Yeah, like he was standing up, like trying to face me. And she just grabbed him by the belt and pulled him off the elevator on his floor.
And so you were safe. Nothing horrible happened to you or the guy.
Nothing horrible happened to me, thank God.
Thank God. Wow. Well, that sounds weird. That sounds like a weirdo right there.
That is a weirdo.
All right, well, hey, thank you for telling me your weirdo story, Sweezy.
Hey, glad to tell you about it, Mister. And then the hour.
All right, you have a good night now. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That's weirdo number one. Elevator weirdo. Elevator guy in a mask with a girlfriend. I wasn't expecting that part.
Call from
Love line.
Love line? Hello?
Hi. Can I speak to Dr. Drew?
This is the minute hour. Is that okay?
Oh, yeah. No, that's fine. Is Adam Carolla around? Or?
No. This is the minute
Oh,
hour, and it's
my
just
apologies.
the
No,
minute
sir.
hour.
This is the second time caller. Ask me any question you want. I'll tell you the truth.
I'm asking you a question.
Yes, ask any question you want. I'll tell you the truth. God.
Have you ever encountered a weirdo, and when and who?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a judgment call. I don't know.
I'm asking you to judge.
Well, I encounter one every morning, sir. When I look in the mirror, I see it every day and every night.
You yourself is the weirdo?
I think so. I just had a weird life, you know.
What's so weird about you?
I don't know, just shenanigans, just felonies, and I don't know, fucking
felonies.
Living with a triple amputee and all sorts of shenanigans.
You're a criminal weirdo?
I guess, but no. So I got in trouble with like solid weed before it was legal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, oh no, I'm just ahead of the curve, man. Like I didn't really. Yeah, exactly. Now it's legal, and they're like, well, you're still a felon. I'm like, that sucks. They're like, yep. I'm like, all right.
So hey, so what you're telling me is you're a former or perhaps former drug dealer. So you must have encountered
I feel like
some weirdos who are buying illicit green weed from you.
I suppose, but like I feel like I'm classified legally as a weirdo now because of that stupid title of a felon, and like I don't know how to wash it off me. Like there's no way to like,
Dude, I don't know either. That sounds like you're
I'm
screwed,
calling you for
man.
help. I mean, come on.
I don't know what to do, dude.
I'm sorry.
What do you do?
But no, I've been watching your show for years. I really love your stuff, and this is the second time I've gotten in, man. You're doing an awesome job.
Wait, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to talk more, or was that it?
I think that. I had one last thing. It's Baba Booey.
All right, nice. Good. I'm glad.
Call from
Aaron.
Aaron.
Oh, fuck. Did I make it on?
Yeah, dude, you're on. We're talking weirdos today. You must have seen some weirdos at some point.
Oh, boy. Have I seen some weirdos. I'll be back, Colton.
Tell me about it. Tell me about a recent or best weirdo experience.
So, not most recent, but best, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back in my tech school for the Air Force, this is one of them long tech schools. One of them tech schools that crushed your spirit real fucking hard.
Uh-huh.
And so, but there was this guy, man. He was like a super hardcore evangelizing Christian.
Oh.
Fucking nuts, right?
In your bonkers. School? Your training school?
Yeah. Imagine like a long college kind of deal, but military. Okay. Not like an officer academy or nothing like that. Just a long-ass fucking schooling.
Okay. Like general education or military education?
So it's for your job, whatever like job you get. So military technically, but it's more in like a civilian setting.
Okay, sure.
So it's like a military college, but not.
So there's a super uber Christian in your class.
He wasn't in my class. He was just around. He's also Air Force. But this motherfucker, first time I ever met him, he's on the other crutch. And okay, first I'm gonna caveat this. I don't really know the guy. He could have been nice. He could have had some problems going on. Mm-hmm. But off the base interactions I got from this man, the boy was he fucking weird, right? So first time I ever seen him, he had like fucking crutches. I don't know what happened, but he had one of those like stupid newsboy paper hat things. You know, like the hats, and it looks like it's kind of like a fucking Mario hat, but more fluffy, almost up top.
I know the one.
Like he's wearing a fucking mushroom.
I got one of those for
right?
Christmas last year, and I don't have the guts to wear it.
No, I'll be honest with you, man. Just don't wear it. I don't think anybody can pull that off. I don't care if you're fucking like Arnold Schwarzenegger or some shit. You're just not pulling it off.
So this and crutches. This is the first spotting of this guy, and you immediately think this guy's a weirdo.
Yes, but then just off his appearance, he had like one of them really shitty like porno stashes. He should have just shaved it. He should have just shaved it. And then he also always like shaved his head like bald, so he just looked extra like creepy, just creepy. But on top of that, you could always tell in the military, if you're in tech school, you can always tell who's weird because in basic training they make you wear a glasses strap to keep your glasses on your face so they don't fall off. Anybody with glasses has to wear one. But in tech school, you can take the fucking glasses strap off. Anybody who's not a fucking weirdo that I've met in my time takes their fucking glasses strap off because only fucking weirdos would wear the fucking glasses strap after basic. It's fucking baffling because people just be wearing it, and every time I've met someone who wears that glasses strap, all except one, is a fucking weirdo.
Okay. Aaron. Does this story continue to you speaking to this guy and discovering that he is a weirdo, or is this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What does he say? What happens?
We're in the DFAT in fucking chow, right? And I'm just kind of next to some people, and all of a sudden I hear like a click, 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 click. I'm like, what's going on? I turn over, and this kid's he's staring very intently at his like shitty clear Coca-Cola plastic glass, you know, the ones they have everywhere. And he's just stirring it. It's just like, no, it was a fucking coffee cup. My bad. It was like a fucking glass coffee cup. And he's just fucking stirring it, and he's stirring it, and he's stirring it. And he speeds up, and he's like, like fucking, like 30 seconds straight. I was just fucking clinking this shit as fast as he can. And then he fucking stops, like he's fucking pondering his orb. He like takes a few angles to look into the liquid and notice his stirring. He just stirs it again real hard for 10 seconds. I'm kind of looking around at the table, and everyone's like, yo, man, what the fuck? And then he stops, takes a drink of his other drink that he didn't just stir for fucking like 30 seconds. And everyone's like, yo, man, what the fuck's going on with this guy? I don't know how random this is, but then another time, fucking the dude's sitting on the bus, and this is for my roommate at the time. He says, he's sitting on the bus, and he's like, you're a sick man. You're a sick man. You're a sick man, like to himself, muttering in fucking tones, right? With different pitches. And he kind of asked him, he's like, yo, man, you good? And he's like, yeah, just like when I like see girls and they tip me, I gotta like fight off that temptation. And it's like, yo, what the fuck?
Interesting. So
and I don't know if like it was just the spirit that broke him, but dude, it's fucking whack.
All right, so you saw this guy right off the rip. This guy's weird. And then every further interaction was like, oh, this goes deeper than I thought even.
Yeah, no, this dude was fucking weird guy.
Do you know anything that did you follow up? Did you find out what happened, or is this just a weird guy you saw occasionally?
No, so he would be around, but he eventually failed out of the class, and I don't know if he got fucking reclassed or fucking kicked out. Haven't heard of him since, but he always lives on in my memory, never to be forgotten.
He sounds deeply disturbed.
Dude, I don't know, man. I just don't understand what the fuck. Like, that man, if he's still in the military, I'm afraid for him to be a leader, considering how hardcore, weird fucking Christian he is.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. All right, hey, Aaron, thank you for calling in.
Thanks for listening, man. You have a good one.
All right, have a good one, dude. Oh, all manner of weirdos that we can talk about today. We're talking all kinds of weirdos. You know, it could be like that. There's always a classic just weirdo who's just around at school. Every school has got some weirdos.
Call from
see him working on things. Hello, Jesus.
Hey, how's it going there?
Hey there, we're talking weirdos today. You got a weirdo story?
Yeah, I got a few. Unfortunately, the lolcow community's been on the rise lately, and I feel it's a duty to raise awareness of certain ones.
What, lol cows?
Yeah, you know what a lolcow is?
Is that like an internet figure who exists just for everyone to laugh at them and make fun of them?
Well, kinda. They're fucking walking disasters.
I
They're
see.
typically people that are a danger to themselves or the communities.
The people that come to mind are like the Chris Chans of the world?
Oh, he's a danger. This is true.
To
No,
himself
I'm
and to
talking.
the community at large?
Yeah, this is also true. He's not welcome a lot of places no more. Everybody acknowledges this.
So who are you
No,
thinking
when
of?
I'm talking about the latest and greatest, the Cyrax. He's on the internet losing his shit every other week, but he's on the brink of being sent to prison at this point for everything he does.
I have no idea who that is. Can you give us the quick overview?
Always some kind of golem type thing living in an attic, and he's always on the internet ripping off other people's art and music and other shit. He's just constantly losing his mind over something, so there's 4 different channels simultaneously covering him currently.
Is he like a streamer type dude, or like what's his main output, his main presence on the internet?
Yeah, it's streaming, I guess. That's
Okay.
probably the majority of it. He's getting interviewed constantly by reporters and other YouTubers.
People just like want to get in on the drama.
Yeah, it's a big market right now. There's a lot of coverage going on.
What's he doing? What's he gonna go to jail for?
Oh, I think the big thing is he's a child predator primarily.
Good
The
lord.
other bits, he's out and about assaulting people, typically in public when he gets the opportunity.
Children?
So he's been. That's the idea. Yeah, he's out there doing Chris Hansen type stuff, so people are on his ass 24/7.
He's doing a catch the predators
No,
solo
he
effort.
is the predator.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
No, everybody's keeping an eye on him specifically about that too.
So what's he do? What's the maneuver? What's his name again?
It's Cyrax.
What's
It's
the
spelled like how you'd think an Xbox gamer would spell it.
What's the Cyrax maneuver for assaulting youth?
He doesn't assault children particularly. He gets his nuts up about them and goes out his front door when there's people filming, and he'll try to assault them by hand or with a bat most recently. So he gets his ass kicked in the middle of the street typically and crawls back inside.
He tries to assault the paparazzi.
Yeah, that's happened a few times now, it seems like. They've put him in jail for a minute for it. I think he's back on the internet as of recently.
Isn't there that guy Boogie who did a similar thing?
Oh, Boogie's the best. Watching him freak out over Frank Castle, that was the best thing ever.
So
I paid good money for that.
This is what you enjoy? You like the lolcow content?
Oh yeah. Yeah, are you aware of who Frank Castle is? I probably should tell you right now.
No, I'm not.
Well, he's a guy that people are paying to basically go around in grocery stores and treat grown-ass adults like children and bully them in public. And they have freakouts and tantrums, and it's pretty good.
I think I have seen some of that.
Yeah, it's pretty entertaining.
Where do you come at this if you aren't like actually if you aren't actually consuming the stuff that these people make? How do you even hear about these people?
Oh, it's the coverage. It's usually some event leading to exposure of somebody in these communities or so. Like Boogie having that freak out with Frank Castle got me into his content. So I've started paying into his Gumroad and all that. But lolcows, they're covered pretty frequently, so news just pops up.
It's just like some kind of like reality TV. Like there's some crazy guy and there's a bunch of people who are keeping tabs on him, and it's just fun to see what crazy shit they get up to next.
Yeah, you nailed it. It's like CNN for psychos.
All right, well, hey, thank you for calling in and telling me about that.
Alrighty, no problem. Hey, one more thing. When are we going to get a Minkus and Marcus too?
Dude, it's a great question. And I don't have an answer for you, but sometime, someday, I would like to do more with that.
I hope so. That's the shit.
Yeah, thank you, man. All right, have a good day.
All right. You have a good one.
All right, we are still talking weirdos. Here's another call.
Call from
to Thomas.
Thomas.
Wow, I got fucking in. What's up, Mr. Minute?
Nothing much. We're talking weirdos today. Weirdos that you've encountered or that you know personally. What you got?
I'll go with an encounter. This happened, I want to say 1 or 2 years ago. I can't quite remember. But one day, there was this homeless guy who just used to always be around my neighborhood. He must have, like, lived somewhere there. And he was always walking around. I'd always pass by him, whatever, nothing, you know, just a normal homeless guy that I never really interacted with. But one time I was walking home from the gym, and I see him, like, pretty far down it's a long, straight road. And I see him pretty far down the street, and he's walking kind of crazy.
Describe that.
You know, he's got like a big swagger to his step. He's walking pretty wide-legged, very clearly on something. You know, I couldn't say what, but like not of sound mind. And you know, I was just walking home from the gym, and I'm just like, it was a nice day, nice like spring or fall day. I don't know. It was like pleasant out and pleasant enough to walk to the gym. And I see him walking towards me, and I'm just looking at him, like wondering. And he's walking like directly towards me now, like swaggering towards me. And to the point where I'm like, oh, oh, and he's shirtless, by the way.
Nice.
He's shirtless like all the time, and at this point his pants are like pretty low on his waist where I can like see his like you know like the V on his pelvis, and he's like bone thin too, but like weirdly muscular. And then I get very close to him, and I'm like kind of agitated at this point that he might try to fight me. That's the vibe I'm getting from his walk towards me and his gaze.
He might be squaring up.
Wait, did I square up?
He might be squaring up. That's like his wide stance is like he's making himself larger.
Like genuinely, I thought he was going to attack me.
Okay. Wow.
And then I took a step further away from him on the sidewalk as I passed him.
Give him some
and
space.
Then he walked deliberately towards me and just kind of said, he nudged me and said, "Tag Joe pussy ass." And then I just kept going, and I just kept walking home. And then a few days passed, and I still see this guy in the neighborhood. Oh. And I was filling up my car with gas at the gas station down the block, and he's there. He's just posted up outside by the ice machine, still shirtless, mind you. And he comes up to me while I'm getting gas at the pump. Normal walk this time, you know, sober. It's like 11 in the morning. And he says, hey man, like real timid this time, whereas before he was very confident. He was like, "Hey man, are you mad at me?" And I was like, "No, we're good, dude." And he was like, "Okay." And then he walked away all happy.
Oh, wow. He didn't even ask for anything?
So I think, no, I genuinely feel like he was ashamed of his behavior the previous encounter. And like, that was his version of an apology.
Did you feel, had things been repaired, your relationship?
You know, I just went back to seeing him as that homeless guy that I never speak to. So, yeah, I guess.
He's not a threat, though. Or if, you know.
I thought, I was just like, oh, he's just a super high and crazy.
It's like he might threaten you every now and then, but he's going to feel bad about it. He's going to make it right later.
Yeah. I think he just had a bit of a drug-induced episode. I got one more quick one for you if I can get it out.
Go for it.
One time I was mountain biking with my now girlfriend, not my girlfriend at the time, but I get back and it's like 9-10 p.m. when I'm getting my bike out of my car to bring it back upstairs into my apartment. And I pull it out of the car and I hear this guy. There's this guy on the sidewalk where I've parked like up the block from my building. And he is like incredibly intoxicated. I can tell just by the way he's standing. And it's like a Saturday night, so I'm like, okay, whatever. But he starts, I like have my bike kind of set up outside my car and I'm grabbing a few other things from my trunk. And I'm just sort of like keeping an eye on my bike to make sure this guy doesn't try to steal it. I feel like I'm saying all these things and I might seem like a paranoid person, but like you said, I live in a city. So like, and I've had my bike stolen before.
Yeah.
So I'm just keeping an eye on my shit. Cause he's very close to me. He's like gotten very close to my bike and my car. And then I go to grab my bike and I'm passing by him to get to my building and he's like, hey man. And I'm like, hi, kind of being a little bit, curt and dismissive.
Dude, someone greeting you on the street. That's the first sign that they're a weirdo, possibly a psycho.
Yeah, exactly. And, he's like, how you doing? And I'm like, good. Kind of that's my tone, like, fuck off. And he's like, hey, man, I didn't do anything to offend you. And I was like, I'm not offended. And he was like, okay, well, then all I'm asking is for you to show me some respect. And I was like, hey, dude, I respect you. And then he was like, well, then respect me. And I was like, what? And then he looks directly at me. He's like, in my way. And he's like, get down on your knees and respect me.
Oh,
and I was like,
shit.
I paused for a moment and I said, have a good night, man. And I walked right by him and I went back to my building. And when I'm about 10 steps away from him, he starts barking like a dog and runs toward this like kind of abandoned house on that block that I think he might have been squatting at or something. And like runs at that house, sprints at it, like howling, like a dog. And that was the last I ever saw of that guy.
That's a real city spotting.
Yes.
Some beast. Did you ever think about how things could have gone differently if you had just kneeled down and respected the man like he asked?
It was a sort of subtext where I feel like he would have whipped out his dick.
Oh, no.
I don't know that I was really prepared for that sort of eventuality.
That would have been horrible. But he would have been a lot happier.
I think so. I wonder with people that are that drunk, because he was like really slurring his words. I wonder if he would have even been operational down there.
Yeah, I think it sounds like the actions that you did take triggered.
I probably prevented some embarrassment, to be honest.
Yeah, I think hopefully you diverted all that energy into just the howling so that he didn't feel the need to.
Yeah, I was going to say he just morphed into a dog or a wolf or something and probably got to express, his primal nature that way.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, Thomas, thank you for calling in.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to more weirdo stories.
All right. Bye. Before we do more weirdo stories, we're going to take a quick break so I can go to the bathroom. The music from the stream, usually we do music from other artists. Today I just have music that I've made for the stream. So all the music that you're listening to is from the Minute Hour, this guy right here. And you're going to be listening to just a couple minutes of music. And we'll be back after that with more calls. The HUD from the stream is from Slouch, if you don't know. Slouch, very talented animator, artist, fellow. He's got a YouTube channel. It's linked in the description of this video. We will be back in just a couple minutes with more calls. Oh, whoop, behind there. Okay, this is the Colin Show. We're doing the topic today is weirdos. Stories about weirdos you have, weirdos you've encountered, psychos, freakazoids, dweebs, just something out of the ordinary. It happens all the time. I feel like every time I go outside, there's some weird shit that happens. People just say things to people, talk to me, and I didn't ask for that. I wasn't ready for that. Who's this?
Call from
Matt. Hello.
All right. Hey, man.
Yo, dude, we're talking weirdos today.
Cool. I got a weirdo I could talk about.
All right, please do.
So this was an older lady, and I think in common with some of the other callers, she was homeless, and I believe she had family in town. So I think she was homeless by, making it impossible for her to be at home sometimes and choosing sort of in a way to be on the street. But when I first moved here to where I live here in Louisiana, I was riding my bike past this place called the Civic Center, and there's a beach right there because we have a lake here. And I hear somebody yelling, and they're yelling, "Hey, y'all, watch out for that weirdo on the green bike." I think she either said weirdo or pervert. And I had just bought this bike. I looked down, and I'm on a green bike, and I don't know exactly where this is coming from. And so I kind of look around, and I see a lady like 100 or more yards away, and she's looking at me. And so I keep pedaling, and she starts yelling. Yeah, I think she called me a weirdo. And then she starts yelling, "He looks like a pervert." And so now I'm like starting to feel like accused, Like weirdo is one thing, but pervert is sort of like bordering on criminal,
Yeah.
And so
it puts people in the defensive posture. I mean, they really got to start shielding themselves and their kids and.
Exactly. People have to pay attention, because a weirdo, you can ignore them or interact with them or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But a pervert, yeah, you're right. You kind of have to sort of become aware of that person and
start to take
make
action.
Proper adjustments.
Yeah.
And so I just kept pedaling, and I told my neighbor about it, and he told me that he thought he knew who I was talking about. Turns out he was right. The lady had walked by our neighborhood one day, and she had yelled something about his son, saying that she was going to cut his balls off or something like that, like a pretty serious statement. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
and then
weird
again,
and maybe even perverted of her.
Oh, she was out there. I feel sorry for her, of course. But then a couple of months later, I'm riding my bike down the street, and I see this lady standing next to an SUV, and there's a girl in the driver's seat, and she's talking to her. And I'm riding past, and I look at the girl in the driver's seat, and I smile, and I continue riding past. And this lady yells, "Not interested." And so I feel really bad because I started I had just kind of had enough, and I probably just was having a bad day. And I fell into the trap, man. I start yelling, "Fuck you," all this stuff. And I feel this is like a 70-year-old woman, and clearly mentally ill. But that kind of brings me to a sort of a topic that I wanted to ask you, maybe if you would share your opinion on, is I think a lot of people don't realize they're the weirdo. And sort of just real quick related to that is I've always had kind of a fear that I could be, I don't want to upset anybody, but that I could be retarded, and no one's telling me. And I wouldn't notice because I'm retarded, And maybe it's with weirdos, it's the same. It's you're not gonna notice that you're weird, right?
That is a very good point. I feel like.
So anyway, thanks.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, well, thank you for calling in. But wait, before you go,
okay.
How did you find out all these things about the first lady, about her situation, or were those just assumptions you're making?
So, as you might not be surprised to hear, she is somewhat of a character locally. And as I've told other people, other people have interacted with her, and other people have some people have called the cops on her. Some people have stopped and said, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need help? Do you need like some water? Like, are you severely dehydrated? Is that why you're acting this way?" You know. And over time, I've lived here for like 14 years, and this is actually an interesting side note. This lady must have gotten some kind of help or medication, or she snapped out of it. But I've seen her at the grocery store, and she's completely like normal relative to what I've seen her behaving in the past.
I see. This sort of thing happens a lot. There's like a local legend almost, like a neighborhood character like that everybody knows about. Everyone has interacted with them, and they build on their lore. I remember when I lived in Boston, there's a neighborhood in Boston I lived in called Alston, and there's a guy who everyone knew as the Alston Ninja. And it was just a guy, it was just like this old but small, very small Asian guy who was always dressed in a kind of, I guess, ninja-looking outfit, and so he was just, he was just a guy that was always around, and so everyone knew who he was.
Well, I always say pineapple when I get on, and I forgot to. So pineapple.
Okay, you did it.
And Bob and Bowie.
Thanks for calling in. Good to hear from you.
Keep up the great work. Thank you, man. Bye.
All right, thanks. Local weirdos. It's weird. It's even weirder to hear that the weirdo became normal. That's weird. Did they get this? Like, it makes me think that's like the pod person thing. Like, they got replaced. But by who?
Call
For
from
what?
Tyler.
And why? Tyler?
Yeah, hey, how you doing?
Yo, Tyler, we're talking weirdos today.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've missed a lot of your shows because of my crazy work schedule, but we've actually spoken before.
When?
The security officer that called you during the COVID stream.
Oh, my God. I remember. That was a long, long time ago.
Yeah. See, I took your advice and I picked up some hardware at the store. I always got protection on me now.
I feel like you were one of the first callers ever, because that
I am honored
Corona
to.
show was like the first time we did call-ins.
Yeah, I'm honored to have that in my legacy. I'm a pretty big fan of your work and all that. I always like to play your stuff for my friends and see their reaction to it for the first time. You know, my go-to is usually Robot Messiah.
Thank you. Well, so are you still in security? Are you still working that job?
No, things got a little wild from moved up and up in the company. I ended up being, my company was like a international executive level company. I ended up being their only employee in the entire state of Texas, and my paychecks didn't feel like it.
I see.
But yeah, I've got a lot. So I have one from my security job, though, one weirdo that I'd love to tell you about. Thought I would kind of freshen things up a little with another person that's not homeless. That's very low-hanging fruit, especially in Austin. But this guy, I had a really high-profile sports car at the time, and I parked it right in front of one of my posts. I had to run in last minute to cover for a subcontractor that wouldn't show up, which is very common. Mm-hmm. And I'm standing there. You know, I park on the street right in front of the front door so I can keep an eye on my car. And sure enough, this pretty normal-looking dude, he's got Bluetooth in his left ear, sunglasses up on his head, decent haircut, and he's wearing like a casual business suit, you know? And he walks up, got a little cigar, little tiny thing, and he's standing there, you know, looking at my car and talking on what I think is, you know, Bluetooth. And the more I look at him, the more I realize stuff's off. His little cigar is not lit at all. His Bluetooth was just a piece of trash. And I look in between the tails of his suit jacket, and I'm now realizing it's real wrinkly and all that, not fitting him too well. And I can see his butt crack. He's got like his pants hanging way down off his ass. He's got wrinkles. He's got dirt. And he's talking to my car. And
So he's like a business guy, but he walked right out of a dumpster.
Yeah, like being weird is his business, I reckon, and he must be an executive for sure.
What's he saying to your car?
I don't know. I was still inside. I was doing this thing where at this post they didn't want me getting in people's way, but they still wanted me to vet and control access. So I found that if I hit the automatic door open button or I leaned in and held the door, I would be in their way, and I would get a chance to, ask them without asking them, make sure they have business. It's pretty sharp with that building. They were some of the best customers. So even though there was like 700 people, I always knew, who was there and who wasn't. It gets harder and harder because you got an executive that could buy my job just to fire me, and they dress like they're freaking homeless. Come up to someone, hey, you shouldn't be loitering in this garage. They go, man, fuck you. And they get in like a Ferrari, and I'm like, all right, got it.
So this was the opposite. This was a guy who was dressed for success, but upon further review, not exactly.
So he comes in. He comes into my post, and he is trying to get to the 8th floor, which was totally gutted, totally under construction. In one of the most haunted buildings in Austin, so the construction workers were always giving me hell. So it was very sharp in my mind exactly what state of fuck this floor was. And he's telling me he has to get up there, and I'm like, I've already sized him up, and I'm like, nah, man, you're not going anywhere near those elevators. And he's like, well, see, the Illuminati has me playing spy games, and I don't know if you're an imposter or not. This was before Among Us came out, I should say. And I'm sitting there, so I'm like, I've dealt with a lot of crazy people my whole life, and I know crazy and weird, they coincide, but they also have a bit of a life hack, and that is crazy people, weird people, they can't stand each other. And I mean, I've learned this through watching my crazy ass family. I've learned this through trying to be an EMT, not getting far into that at all, but dealing with, some crazy people. And that's a story for another time. But anyway, so he's telling me, he's posturing on me pretty aggressively too. And he's like, he's really strung up. And so I'm like, well, what do you need? Like, what are you after? And he's like, well, I have to get to this so-and-so law firm because the Illuminati is trying to stop me, but I need to get my Crystal Palace or whatever. And I got really good at the security job. I'm really good with people, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to get him to interact with the police, but the police didn't want to do anything, hence my booming and enterprising career as a security officer in downtown, and especially at the time. So I devised a way to just get him to walk into the building that had the most cops in it. And what I did was I said, listen, there's energy traps all over this building. There's all kinds of, I just looking at keywords for all the crazy people I've studied online. So I'm like, yeah, there's energy traps. The Jesuits have left traps here. Like, what do you think I'm doing here? I'm a projection. I'm trapped. And he, the thing is, someone who's delusional, and you couldn't do this as a police officer to de-escalate, but I wasn't a police officer, so fuck that. The thing is, a delusional person would sooner die than give up on their delusion. So if you give them, they're giving you. And this works with anyone, from your average bum with glazed over eyes trying to get money from you. If you say, like, before they ask you, you go, hey, man, you got $5? And they give you this deer in the headlights look, and you sit there and you start rocking back and forth. You go, look, I just need $5. I'm trying to get a place to live tonight, and I'm not going back to jail for you or anyone. And they don't know what to do, and so you have to match it. And I matched him, and I'm like, look, you think I want to be here? There's all these energy traps. I said, obviously, since you're after the law firm, you already know what's going on. You need to get to the legal library. His eyes just light up. Like, finally, someone gets it. And the legal library is this building right next to the Capitol, and it's one of the county buildings that kind of looks like it's already a prison, and it's just full of police and security. And I'm like, yeah, you got to get to the legal library, and once you get in, you got to tell them that your Crystal Palace is in big trouble, man. You got to go. You got to do it now. And he just turns his head before he turns the rest of his body like the freaking Terminator, and he marches right down Congress. And he was their problem now. And if you want, I got a bonus crazy person in my new current job, which also, or not crazy, weird person. This is definitely weird, not crazy. And
all right, go for it.
honestly,
But for her, so I want to say this is a great technique. I mean, out crazy the crazy people. It's like you actually are a double agent. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
In
one
their
quick
mind,
one.
once they realize they've been betrayed, I mean, aren't you worried about that? They're gonna figure you out. They're gonna come back.
Well, they never did, but
to
also
the legal department, and they said you're full of shit, buddy.
Yeah, well, they never did, but if they ever did, I tell you, nobody's gonna kick my ass anytime soon. Tell you what, especially at that post. Yeah, at that post, I was wearing full steel body armor. I had my ASP baton. I had pepper spray. I finally got them to loosen up and let me carry, and I also had 6 feet of chain in my cargo pocket because that was a little more articulate than the baton. The baton is great. I mean, it'll anvil a muscle against the bone and cut it. It's just brutal.
Lord.
But
all right, let's hear the other story real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. And a quick crazy person deflection. Another case in point. I was walking past Chase Bank. Homeless guy was feeding off a crowd of protesters. Energy, money, food, all that. I'm walking by and he's sizing me up. I'm not watching him, but I'm looking at him in my peripherals. He says, the moon landing's fake. I didn't miss a beat, and I just chuckle and say, you believe in the moon? And he was physically stopped. He was slammed by what I said. But real quick, this is something weird about me. I now am a mortician for pets. And, to answer some concerns from the previous caller, I reckon I'm pretty self-aware about my weirdness. But in comes this woman, and she has this large see-through box, and it appears to be completely full of like crystals and seashells and those gift shop rocks that someone decided to convince crazy ladies, that they're magic. Mm-hmm. And inside of it, in the middle, there's yet another smaller Tupperware container, and there's this mummified-looking bundle of, I don't know what it was. It could have been paper towels. It could have been, legit wraps. I don't know, but she comes in, and I'm trying to enter her into my computer, and she's talking, and I'm like, so what's the pet's name? And she's leaned over, and she's got a husband sitting next to her, but he was like pretty much not even in the room. The guy was just not there. And she's, cradling this little container, rocking back and forth. And she keeps saying she can't reach him on the other side, like in spiritual plane or whatever. And I'm like, dang, that's crazy. What's his name, though? Who can't you reach? And she's just spiraling. She's like, oh, I can't reach him. I can't reach him. I'm not getting anything back. And she's really sad. And, people, when they're grieving in general, they're just crazy. But, when you're weird or crazy, then it's worse. So I tell her, look, we got a viewing room, same as any old funeral home for people. Said, if you want to go in there and take your time and say your goodbyes, that's totally fine. Because, I am an asshole, but I'm not that much of an asshole. And so, she just lights up and she goes, can I anoint him with oil? Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, the definition of anoint is to put oil on something. Can I oil him with oil? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you sure can. And boy, oh boy, did I make a mistake, pal. Let me tell you, she walks in with this rolling, it's almost like a rolling suitcase or something like a snake oil salesman would have, like an old-timey doctor. She opens this box, and my heart sinks as I look at all these little tiny brown vials. I mean, hundreds of them. Each one of them had a different essential oil, a different crystal and ritual to go with it. And by the time she was done, that place stunk so bad. I had a splitting headache. There was all my coworkers like, what the hell does it smell? I'm like, don't even start with me.
So it was a special oil lady doing a special oil treatment on what was the pet? Did I miss that? What was it?
It was I forgot to mention it actually. It was a bird. I didn't want to use too much of your time, so I'm trying to fly through. But yeah, it was a little bird. It was a parrot, if I recall.
Wow.
And it was mummified, and she went through this whole ritual, and she did her thing. And I'm not judging, but boy, was that weird. And it smelled so bad after that. You know, I deal with the smell of rotting critters. When I was security, I dealt with the smell of all the human filth in Austin. And then we had there were these alleys where like people were just constantly throwing away rotten red onions, and it's like 110 degrees, no wind. There was like this nest where this homeless guy was fucking pigeons to death. Like, you know, I've dealt with some smells.
All right.
But these
Thanks for calling in again. It's good hearing some more crazy stories from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I survived, and I took your advice, and I carry a piece with me, and nothing crazy, just a little 6-shooter there. That's all I need. But I have to ask you one question before we go.
Yeah.
Right after we had our little chat, and you advised me and many of the listeners on the COVID stream to, you know, get some self-protection, you came out with that fabulous song, Get a Gun.
Yeah.
Was there any inspiration at all from our conversation?
I'm sure there was. I mean, with COVID in general, I was getting real paranoid about the breakdown of society. So that was something that was going on in my brain there the whole time.
There you go. Well, hey, I was feeling it. I appreciate you. I thank you for your time, and you've given me so much joy, happiness, and entertainment. Maybe I can pay it forward here soon. I'm going to be in a little independent movie called Knucklehead. Keep an eye out. I'll try to share it with you. Maybe I'll entertain you right back.
All right. Hell yeah. All right. Well, thank you for calling in, man. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah. Take it easy, boss.
All right. Bye. Okay. We're going to take another quick break, but this is the call-in show. We're talking about weirdos today. We'll be back with more calls in a minute. And yeah, we'll be back in a minute and a half. Okay, we are back. We are taking more calls. 518-288-7938. We're talking about weirdos, your experience with those abnormal people. You know who I'm talking about.
Call from
Erica.
Erica, hello.
Hi.
Yo, we're talking weirdos today.
Yeah, so I have a bit of a weird one. It's another one of those like neighborhood weirdo stories.
Nice. Who is your neighborhood weirdo?
Okay, so his name was Kyle, and so
Say
I'm
again,
from a small
Fievel?
town. Kyle.
Oh, Kyle. Okay, not Fievel. All right.
Yeah, I'm on my break right now, so I'm gonna make it quick. But so I'm from a small town. It's like one of those towns that has like one gas station and like a Dollar General. kind of in the middle of nowhere. And so small town and one big old weirdo, but he was harmless. So he's kind of like a harmless weirdo. Okay. And
a long time weirdo. He's been around for a while.
Long time weirdo, yeah. So as long as I can remember. And he lived on his parents' property in like a trailer. Mm-hmm. And there was one time, like 1 year, where he like set his trailer on fire because he was like schizophrenic, like known schizophrenic, because he would like sit outside of the store and like scream at cars and like do your normal fucking crazy person thing. And so
sort
anyway,
of like dog behavior.
Yeah, and so we lived on a pretty big property ourselves with a bunch of like, we had chickens and dogs and cats and stuff. And so, long story short, 1 year our chickens started going missing. Uh-oh. And we thought it was like just your normal like coyote kind of scenario, you know? And so for a couple of years, or like we were just confused why our chickens started going missing and stuff. And turns out Kyle was sneaking into people's yards and breaking into people's kennels and stealing chickens.
Taking their chickens?
Yeah. So that's Kyle.
Did you get to the bottom of it? Did you find where he was taking these chickens to? Was it to somewhere nice? Somewhere good?
No. Oh. So he wouldn't kill them. He would just occasionally, because we would like see once in a while our chickens would be like out, and we would notice that like, so we would like drive up to the store and we would see one of our chickens like across the street, just like in a ditch, like chilling and pecking around in the ditch. And so he wasn't like taking them and fucking eating them or anything. So it wasn't super crazy and weird like that. He just occasionally would like just bust them out, yeah. And I guess he just wanted a little chicken bread.
How'd you find out it was Kyle?
Because there were rumors and like stories and stuff about Kyle, and then he ended up being incarcerated for a couple things, and so and then we live kind of like in a town that's close to Reno in Nevada.
Okay.
And so we would occasionally see him like at gas stations in Reno and stuff, and then everyone knew Kyle. It was just like. No, not a chicken in hand. So perhaps maybe it wasn't Kyle. It was just a rumor, but
that's what I
think it's. I
know.
Hilarious.
I've been talking to you for 3 minutes, but I think Kyle's a scapegoat. I think somebody else is blaming Kyle for all these crimes. Is it a crime to bust a chicken out? Is that theft?
I think it's like vandalism and theft, but
No, I believe it. I believe Kyle's a fucking weirdo, and Kyle, who knows what he did to the chicken.
Kyle was cool because he would just do taking walks and stuff, and we would he would just like ask us for cigarettes and stuff, and then when we were party, and we would give him cigarettes, and we would take him up to the store and stuff. Like he was harmless, and he would always like dig in the trash for coffee and food and stuff. So he was just kind of known to be the neighborhood weirdo because he had like these two different personalities too. He was like some Buffalo Bill shit where he would like change his voice into a woman's voice and start screaming.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you weren't part of the committee to incarcerate Kyle. That just happened.
No, yeah. Everyone wanted to help because so the whole thing is that he was always diagnosed with schizophrenia, and then after he because his brother had passed away a couple years ago from a heroin overdose. And that was kind of when schizophrenia hit him really hard and he kind of just lost his mind a little bit. And no one no one didn't like him. Like he was fine and stuff. He was just a little bit of a nuisance. And there was a whole rumor about like how he's taking people's chickens and like, because people had complained about him like sneaking onto their property and stuff like that. And kind of like fucking around with people's sheds and like, because, he didn't have anywhere to go so he would just kind of like sleep in people's yards and people's property and stuff.
But you said Kyle in the present day, he's back to his old tricks. He's hanging out at gas stations.
Yeah, gas stations just around like the outside towns and stuff. So not like where we're from anymore. But he will disappear for like 2 years at a time, and no one will hear from him, see him. And then out of nowhere, we'll just be like, "Hey, look, it's Kyle!" Like chilling on the side of the road or like at a gas station or something. So.
All right, well, great. Thank you for calling in and telling me that. we wish the best for
Thank
you
you.
and for Kyle, obviously.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye. More local legends, local weirdos. It's funny when there's just one. It's just one guy that everyone knows. Cause like, how do they get there? What's the story? How did they arrive in town? And they can just go to the outskirts once they've worn out their welcome. No one knows Kyle at this gas station. Keith, we're talking weirdos today. What is going on over there, Keith?
I got a baby crying right now.
Oh, you're a father?
Yeah, it's 3, man.
What a weirdo, dude.
Honestly, yeah. It's made me a little weirder, yeah.
Okay, so what do you have to say about weirdos? Yeah. You got a weirdo encounter, or are you going to talk about your weirdo children?
Well, I mean, I could, but I had one in particular that came to mind. Yeah, well, I'm of the opinion we're all weird. You know, we grew up in a really unnatural environment. You know, lots of mass media, blah blah blah. Yeah. But then you can have people take a step further. This guy I knew back when I was in high school. He kind of had the duck stack. He came from way out, like kind of the holler, Kentucky. Probably a little inbred, like, unfortunately, and some issues with probably pollution in the region. You know, so the guy, you know, he has some excuse, whatever. But when we were in, dealt about bad hand, but like he was kind of leading into it in a bad way, right?
Okay.
So like in high school, I was really, really involved with this Baptist church. Like, just basically, it was the only place in town to do anything. Like, my friends are there, yada yada. We're in high school. This dude, he's like a sophomore in college, but he's about like 27, 28 when we know him. He would always just show up at all the youth events, just kind of linger, didn't really talk to anybody. You know, it was just like people were nice to him, but he didn't really like offer anything. He just kind of like watched, and like he kind of vicariously, you know, participated or whatever. The thing was, he would show up places like where he was not invited at all. We tried to be cool about it, but he just kept showing up like anywhere. And it became like a joke, right? Like, we're just like, we would go somewhere like some restaurant and we would make a joke about like running into him. Like, we would go to the parking lot, like we would meet up in the parking lot of Walmart or whatever, and make a joke about him like showing up, and then he would actually show up like, in the parking lot. Oh. And it was just like anywhere. Like, we're talking about it like after college, saying that, like, man, like, did you hear like all those crazy stuff going on? And then he comes out of the bushes, like he's there, like just like all the time. But the big stories that stand out were he had been like in and out of school. Like, he would just like not go to class, but he would like get back in. And then when he was like there, maybe like the third time, he got caught like outside of one of the girls' like dorms, like outside the bathrooms. He got like in big trouble with the school, and like, you know, losing his like, you know, attendance, whatever again, not being able to go back to school.
What was the alleged accusation here? He was snooping.
Well,
he was sneaking in.
Yeah, snooping outside the showers, like the bathroom of this dorm. It's a hyper conservative, like Christian college. Yeah. And there was that. There was a time that he was like picked up at 2 a.m. like walking out like in the middle of nowhere. Like, he said he was going to the lake, but it was like 2 a.m. And so like he got like detained by the police for a while. But he wouldn't like really talk to me about this stuff. The story that I personally have with this guy was like, we're hanging out, like it's late after a bunch of youth activities. My good friend is gonna just like take this girl home. Like, my friend was like friend zoned real bad, but he always gave this girl rides or whatever. So he leaves with this girl to take her home, and I'm stuck there with this guy. He is just kind of sitting there, he's like not saying anything. He's like huffing and puffing. He's just like, man, you ever like in love with a girl like half your age? And this girl he's talking about, he's like, she's like 14, he's like 28. And I'm just looking at him, and I'm 16, and I go, dude, you mean 8-year-olds? And he just kind of shut up. But I'm just like, can you understand what you're saying, man? Like, this is a fucking problem. But no, he was infamous just all the time, and then he just disappeared one day. Presumably went back to like the town he's from. Like, he was one of the only people to ever leave there, and then he just went back.
Okay, so just we don't need to know what happened. at the end of that
I mean,
story?
I'm curious, yeah, but it's just like we were kind of estranged from him at that point. We had tried to be nice for 2 years, and like the trouble that he kept getting was like progressively worse and worse.
Did you have like long friend conversations with him, or did he literally just appear and you were like, oh, how did this happen?
Yeah, no, he would just show up, but he wouldn't really talk. He would just like watch, and he would just kind of like vicariously socialize by watching us do stuff. But we're all like 10, 15 years younger than him. He didn't really like hang out with the college crowd. He would hang out with just a youth group crowd just because we were doing stuff more. But
so he opened up to you after being silent for so long.
Yeah, I mean, he would say random stuff. This is this moment. He's like, you ever in love with this girl? I'm like, how can you be in love with this girl, man? Like, you don't say anything to anybody, like especially not her. She's 14 years old, man. You're 28. Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems with that guy. I hope he's doing better, but I doubt it.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good one. Good Lord. Nice. That's cool. 28-year-old mysterious guy finally starts talking.
Call from
Jackie the Joke Man Martling.
To accept.
What? Hello?
Hi.
Jackie?
Yes.
We're talking weirdos today.
Yeah, I've got some jokes to tell.
Okay. Go for it.
All right. Well, let's see. A man has the words "I love you" tattooed to his dick. He goes home to his wife. The wife says, "Stop trying to put words in my mouth."
Nice. Nice. Okay.
Let's see. Okay. A man walks into his son's room. He goes, "Son, if you keep masturbating, you're going to go blind." The son goes, "I'm over here, Dad."
Okay. That one I felt more like I saw it coming, but okay, go on.
Yeah, all right.
Still nice.
A woman goes to a gynecologist. The gynecologist examines her. Here goes, "What a hole, what a hole." She says, "You didn't have to say it twice." He goes, "It was an echo."
Okay, pretty good.
All right. Yeah,
okay, keep going.
Yeah.
How long is this list?
All right.
Okay, I'll just say keep going.
Whenever you want to cut me off. I said I'll do like 2 minutes of jokes, and that'll be it.
Yeah, you got some time.
Yeah, all right. All right, a bear and a rabbit are taking a shit in the woods. This is a more tasteful one. Got two animals.
A bear and a rapper?
Yeah, a rabbit.
Oh, a rabbit. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, a bear and a rabbit. Okay, so a bear and a rabbit are taking a shit in the woods. The bear turns to the rabbit and goes, "Do you have trouble with shit sticking to your fur?" And and he says, "No." So the bear wipes his ass with the rabbit.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a thinker.
Absolutely.
Okay, one more.
All right. Let's see. Okay, fine. A man goes over to his wife and hands her 2 aspirins and a glass of water. She goes, "What's this for? I don't have a headache." He goes, "Good, let's fuck."
All right, nice. Thank you for the jokes.
All right, thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Bye.
Call from
Daniel.
Daniel, we're talking weirdos today. What do you got?
Oh, cheers. I didn't think I'd actually get through.
Yeah, dude, you're on. You're on right now.
All right. I got a weird roommate story. It's a little bit more of an idiot story, but it is weird.
Go for it.
So this is back in college, and I had this roommate. We'll call him Kostas, because that was his name.
You'll call him what?
And Kostas, that was his name. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Greek.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, pardon me. I haven't been on there in a while. Got a little bit of nerves.
Hey, don't worry about it, dude. There's nobody watching this.
At the time, well, apparently there's 194.
What the heck? All right,
But
Kostas is your roommate.
anyway,
This is a weird guy. He's perhaps just an idiot. What happened? What did Kostas do?
So a different roommate, not Kostas, she makes a pie, and she leaves for the weekend. Doesn't take the pie with her. I don't know if she forgot it or maybe she was intending to come back to it when she got back from her parents' place. But basically, whatever. She leaves the pie there. The next day, I open up the fridge, get myself a drink of water. I keep my Brita filter in the fridge. I like cold water, you know?
Nothing weird about that?
And no, certainly not. And I see that the Brita filter, it's on the top rack, which is not tall enough for the Brita filter to be on. So it's on its side, spilling all of the water all over all the groceries we have. I take a look at this pie that's on the middle rack. It's completely mangled. I mean, I have never seen a pie or anything disrespected this badly.
He soaked the
I look
pie?
in the sink. What's that?
He soaked the pie? He drenched it?
Oh, the pie was more than soaked. I mean, like, imagine a murder scene. And there's like a triangle, like a neat triangle cut right out of the center of it, too. Yeah. And I look in the sink, and I see the pizza cutter and a whole bunch of other shit, tongs, pizza cutter, all this shit covered in pie. And I'm thinking, like, okay, it's a real bad start to my day. Why are all the groceries wet? What the fuck is going on with this pie? And I know that there's only one person who could have done this. It has to be my roommate, Kostas. Now, I'm going to be honest. I don't have any objective physical proof that it was him in particular. But it couldn't have been my roommate, Chris. He's a normal, sane guy, sticks to himself. Obviously isn't the girl who made the pie. Isn't my roommate, Kia. She's sane. In fact, her and I pretty much kept each other sane through that whole year just living in that house. It was fucking nuts. So it has to be
You
Kostas.
knew Kostas was crazy even before this incident, or just stupid?
Yeah. Well, definitely stupid. Oftentimes on different drugs. Yeah.
So you
and
think
a bit
he
of
pulled
just
out
generally.
a fresh pie from the fridge, cut it open with a pizza cutter, got himself a slice, washed it down with your Brita water, and then just in rearranging, trying to put things back in the fridge, he forgot how it worked, and he put the Brita filter horizontal.
Yeah.
That is
So,
insane.
Sorry, go on.
That is insane. That's how could that happen?
It is. It is, but it goes further than that. So I was pretty pissed off. So I went downstairs and I confronted him. I'm like, Kostas, are you just fucking stupid or were you high? And for that matter, high on what? And instantly, and this guy couldn't ever take accountability for anything. He starts telling me this story about how, it's so weird. This morning, I saw this pair of shoes in the basement, and it doesn't belong to anyone here. I think someone broke into our house. And
left their shoes.
I'm just I'm utterly baffled by this because it's like, Kostas, do you mean to tell me somebody broke into our home not to steal any of the expensive gaming consoles that are out in the living room, not to steal, the big-ass HD TV, not to steal any of the nice stuff in our house? They broke in just to mangle a pie, spill water on the groceries, and then forget their shoes.
Or leave their shoes as payment for the pie. A fair trade.
Payment or maybe a calling card, the shoe bandit.
Yes.
But I was just completely baffled by that. I mean, like,
did he give it? Did he give it up? Did he budge on that?
No, he didn't. And he didn't produce the shoes either. He did not have the shoes. So I don't know what the deal. I mean, let's say that really did happen. Let's say I'm in Kostas' position. If I'm telling somebody that story, I'd recognize how utterly absurd that story is, right? I'd show the shoes right away. Like, look, whose fucking shoes are these?
Yeah, The primary evidence, Exhibit A.
Yeah. Anyways,
wow.
Nothing crazy. I know you probably had some real insane callers or something. Well, maybe not insane callers, but callers with insane stories.
But that's it's messed up when the crazy is at home, and they're not even going to admit it. Some psychological maneuvering going on there.
Oh, it was a terrible environment. Did terrible things to my mind. College did too, but we're in a better place now. So.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for calling in.
Yeah. Hey, one question just before I go, real quick.
Sure.
Do you have any plans on doing anything with Drew Langlois again? I love the stuff that you guys did together.
Yes, absolutely. It's not set in stone yet, but yeah, me and Drew are definitely going to work together again more in the future.
Well, cheers. Awesome. Great stream, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. Have a good one.
All right. Yeah, see ya.
Call from.
Oh, just missed him. Sorry, whoever that was. All right, you can still call in 518-288-7938. We're talking about weirdos. Weirdos abroad, in public, or in the home, as a roommate. That's scary.
Call from.
Alan.
Hello?
Hello, hey.
What was this? What was your name?
Alan.
Oh, Alan. Nice to talk to you. We're talking about weirdos today.
Nice. Yeah. It's nice to have a topic I can actually contribute to this time. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Nice.
Yeah, one time I was on a trip with some of my friends. There's 5 of us, and we went to Sequoia National Park, and we were just going to find these hot springs, right? Mm-hmm. And we got to the location, but when we got there, it was just in the middle of the highway, and there was no entrance or anything. So we were confused. So we went into the forest, and we were looking for these hot springs. Couldn't find anything, and it just started getting dark. It was about like 9 p.m., 9:30. So we figured we'd go back to the car. So we get back to the car won't start. So we're like, all right, I guess we'll have to call AAA or something, or ask, a car passing by to jumpstart our car. And but then wouldn't you know it, some big vehicle is driving down the road, and we stop it over, we wave it over, and it's a school bus in the forest at 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. And we're like, what is this school bus doing here? And it stops, and on closer inspection, it's a really beat up school bus, right? And the S on the school, the word school on the school bus was crossed out. So it was supposed to say cool bus, but the H was still there. So I guess it was chul bus. And it was this bus full of these free spirit, bums, I guess, or something, who were also here for the hot springs.
How
many?
This dude,
I don't know.
How many do you think?
I would probably guess like 10. I mean, we didn't see all of them because I think they all went to the hot springs, but 2 of them stuck around to help us with the car. And the driver sticks his head out, and he's this white dude in his 30s. He's got these dreads. And we're like, hey, man, what's your name? And he's like, oh, my name is Paradox. And we're like, cool, man, right on. Our car is kind of messed up here. Could you give us a jump start? And, yeah, hang on. So he parks the bus in front of us, but I guess there's something wrong with the emergency brake. So he gets out of the bus, and he puts a rock in front of the tire on the bus.
All right.
And then they start connecting the bus to our car, and Paradox comes up to us while they're doing that, and he's like, hey, so you guys here for the hot springs, right? And we're about to answer him, but I see from behind him the bus starts lurching forward towards our car. It's about to, and, my friend's, sticking out of the driver's seat, so he's about to get hit by the bus. So I point behind him, and I'm like, hey, the bus is moving. So he turns around, and he runs back in the bus, and he slams on the brake before it hits our car, thankfully.
Oh.
And he sticks his head out, and he's like, I guess the rock wasn't big enough. So I was like, all right. And our car got jump-started, thankfully, and he was like, hey, man, you want to go to the hot springs? And we're like, yeah, we were looking for it. And he said, yeah, we're going to be there. It's just down the road a little bit. We're all going to be just naked and being in the hot springs. We do this quite often if you want to come.
And I was kind of down to check it out just for the adventure, but two of us, they didn't want to do that, so we just ended up going to a hotel after that.
Oh, man. So they talked you out of it, the group.
They did. Yeah. I wasn't going to separate from my group to join these free spirits.
I mean, you get a lot of information up front there with the old school bus, the cool bus, the guy named Paradox, this free spirited guys. That to me sounds like I would translate to like they smelled really bad.
Oh yeah, they weren't clean.
So like, was it just did you end up having a discussion with them to like during the time they're jumping you to like suss them out to figure out how weird they were, or was it just like those initial warning signs were enough to say, let's just?
We had like a little discussion, not too much. We were with these two girls with us, and they were very, they were a little more freaked out than us by them, and they got in like kind of a little awkward disagreement at one point. They invited us over, and one of the girls said something like, "Oh yeah, we don't want to." We don't hang out with bums or something. It was way less mean than that, but he said something like that, and he said he got offended. Paradox is like, well, a bum just saved your life, and it was just a little awkward after that. So, but I've got another weirder story if you want to hear it, or I can give my time to the people.
No, sure. If it's quick, go for it.
It's a little medium, I'll be honest.
All right, I'm in. I'm locked in. I want to hear it.
All right, sure. Well, this story is all right. So I was with a buddy of mine. We went on a backpacking trip for like 4 days. First backpacking trip I ever went on. Cranberry Lake.
Where's that? That's the U.S.
Yeah, it's in New York State.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my buddy it's actually the same buddy from the first story. It's the same car that broke down. He has that same car, and he lives in the city, but he doesn't keep his car in the city because he never drives. So he keeps it at his roommate's mom's place, which is a little bit closer to the direction in Cranberry Lake. So our plan was to take the train to further into New York State, pick up the car, drive to Cranberry Lake, hike, drive back. So after the backpacking trip, we're all stinky because we haven't, showered or anything. And we take the car to his roommate's mom's house, and she's there this time. At first, she wasn't there the last time, but she's there this time. And she's a very sweet woman. Poor thing, she has some sort of disease where she can't talk. Like, she's not mute, but she kind of, I don't know, there's something with her jaw or something, so she just communicates in like grunts, like, that's, and she'll talk with like her phone, But it's a very sweet woman. We came there, and she's like, she takes out a Coke from the refrigerator, and she's pointing at us like, and we're like, oh no, thank you, we're okay. We got to get the train. And she's like, and she points us to her hot tub, and we're like, oh no, we're all stinky and smelly, we're not gonna. And then she points us the outdoor shower she's got. She's like, and we're like, oh no, we can't. We got to catch the train. We can't. It's very nice of you, but we can't. But we got to go get this train. So anyways, her friend is there too, and it's this guy who works with her, this coworker. And I guess they just came back from some sort of party, and he was completely hammered, completely sloshed. And he also seemed very, like, every time she would make those noises, she was all smiles. But every time she would make those noises, he would feel really bad because I think he just felt really bad that she had this disease because she didn't have it her whole life. She sort of developed it. And, but he kept saying like, oh, just let the boys go. Let's go back to the party. Come on. Let's go back to the party. And, but she insisted that she drives us to the train station, and the train is going to arrive in like 25 minutes or something. And we're like, well, all right, sure. Why not? We'll take the ride. So we get in the car with the drunk guy in the front. She's driving. And she takes us to a beach, show us the beach because she just wants us to know that there's a beach here and that we should come up more often. And we're like, this is a very nice beach, but I don't know, we got to catch this train. But we hang out at the beach a little bit, but there's 15 minutes until the train comes, and we all run back to the car. And we're about to miss this train, so she's driving like super fast. She's weaving through like a 2-lane street, you know, weaving around cars. And the drunk guy in the front he's like, slow down, you bitch. And she goes, I'm not a bitch. And he's like, I'm sorry, that was overstepping, but you got to slow down. I was a driver for 15 years, a professional driver. You should let me drive. And my friend was like, oh, well, what'd you drive? And he goes, I drove rich people. And we're like, oh, okay. Who, anyone we know? And he's like, yeah, I drove Paul Newman. We're like, oh, cool. He's like, yeah, that's right. I was driving Paul Newman. Paul got in my car, and he said, hey, I'm thinking of getting into the salad dressing industry. And I said, Mr. Newman, I think that's a great idea. And
nice. He was integral.
Yeah. So she's skidding through the street, and we get to the train station. As soon as we pull up, the train is arriving. So we grab all our shit, and we make it right at the last minute into the train. So, yeah, it's my second story. She was very sweet. I thought he was more the weirdo in that story just because he was completely sloshed and, you know, talking about Paul Newman. But
they got an interesting dynamic, though. They're a good
they
weirdo
did, yeah.
pair, a duo.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She was able to deal with him, and he could hardly deal with her. But it's a nice dynamic duo, yeah.
Well, hey, thank you for calling in. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, we're going to take one final break here, and then we'll be back for some more calls for the end of the show. We'll do a quicker show here, like about 2 hours total. And I'm going to play just these short little loops here. We'll be back. We'll do like 30 more minutes of calls about weirdos, and that'll be it. All right, we'll be back in a minute 30. Okay, we are back. We're talking weirdos on the call-in show today. The number is 518-288-7938. Call in now. Your last chance to call in today to get on the call-in show. We're going to take a few more calls here, and then we're going to call it quits. Who do we have?
Call from?
Neither.
Neither?
Yep, that would be me.
Yo, dude, we're talking weirdos today on the call-in show.
Hey. Honestly, really surprised I managed to get in. So, yeah, I got weirdo stories to tell if you're up for it.
I'm ready. I'm so up.
All right. So, I had like a kind of off again, on again friend. He was a bit of a weirdo way back when. This was like, the story I'm going to tell first is from like middle school. So, I can't remember what it was, but we had like started hanging out quite a bit around this time. He's always been kind of off. He's a bit of a weird kid. He liked to collect like like cards and stuff, but he was a bit over the top about it. I don't know.
He sounds like
Either
a
way,
fucking weirdo already.
Well, no, like I don't know how to put it. He would often talk about, now mind you, in middle school about like fantasies and stuff about these certain cards and whatnot. I'm not gonna get super into details. Yeah.
Can you is there anything you can do with your phone? You're a little quiet right now.
That better?
No, it's exactly the same. But that's fine. We're gonna keep going.
Oh damn.
So
sorry.
what? He's got weird card fantasies. What did you say?
Yeah, essentially he's got like some pretty out there opinions on the appearance of certain cards and things like that.
Okay. Is this like autistic type
anyways.
weirdness, or is this something deeper?
Maybe along those lines. I never really knew.
Okay.
Not as far as I know.
Okay.
Anyways, so after a while we had like started hanging out and whatnot, and then I found out that he had been running around the trailer park in a ghillie suit.
Oh.
Which I lived in a trailer park at the time, and he would like run and hide in people's bushes and just stare at them, or be sitting there with a not ghillie airsoft gun. It was quite weird to find out about that. I brought it up to him, like, hey, you really shouldn't be doing that. Cops might see you. Airsoft guns look kind of real. Probably not the best idea. Well, he kept doing it, and one day wound up at my house running across the porch and whatnot. And my dad hears him run across the porch and goes to hide in our, like, hedges or whatever. And he's hiding up there. My dad goes out, and he's like, who the hell is out here? Whatever, right? Scares the living crap out of my mom, my dog, everybody in the house.
So his
goes
move
out
is
there.
to make a ruckus, run across the porch, and then get someone to come out. And meanwhile, he's hiding in the bushes in his ghillie suit.
Yeah, like in the middle of the night. I never really got the gist of it, to be honest. Like, he just would run around in people's yards in a ghillie suit, crossing the trailer park, making noise, running. Like, I think he was genuinely just trying to scare people, which I guess sounds about right, but it was very strange. Anyways, he, excuse me, sir, 1 second.
What happened? Where did we go? Did we just get put in the pocket? Is this guy like ordering fast food right now? Hey, we can't wait forever, dude. Where are you, dude? Hello? Am I supposed to wait? How long can I possibly wait? Is this a test? Is this a secret shopper? Okay, I have to go. I have to hang up. I'm sorry, guy. I don't know why you did this to me. I wanted to hear about the end of the story. I had questions, but I have to go now. You're taking too long.
Oh, wait, you're still there?
Dude, what was that? What the hell was that? Jesus Christ.
What was that?
Trying to do a show here. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, at work.
What was that?
Sorry, I'm at work.
You're at work?
Yeah.
Was there a customer?
Yeah, I thought I had time. 4:58.
Good Lord. All right.
Yeah,
What's the end of the story?
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What
happened? What happened to the guy? What happened to the guy in the ghillie suit? Did he get found? Did he get shot? What happened? Dude, I can't wait. I can't wait around here for you.
What was that? Still wrong?
What did he say? I thought maybe we could overhear this interaction, but I have to go. I have to go. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling in. Goodbye.
Call from
Jim.
Jim.
Oh, hello?
Jim, can you talk now? Are you free?
Oh, thank God, man. Yeah, hell. Whew. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. We're talking about weirdos today. What do you got to say?
Well, man, I'm so glad I got through. Listen, there's something big going to happen. You understand?
I can tell from your tone of voice. Sounds like you're on the run.
Yeah, me and my brother Tony, we got together. He had something on him. He said, listen, man, we're going to go back in time with this shit. And I figured there's something important I got to go back and warn Mr. The Minute Hour about. There's a pandemic that's coming. It's coming from the Chinese, okay?
What did your brother have that gave you this ability?
Well, I got really freaked out because at first he told me it was heroin. So I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I just smoked heroin. But then he's like, hey, man, I'm just kidding. Take it easy. It was methamphetamine.
And that's where you are right now. That brings us to the present moment.
Yeah, is it 2019?
No, it's 2024.
Oh my God.
So you did go back? Were you here before?
Has Mike Tyson killed that Jake Paul filler yet?
No, but they're in talks. There's talk of a fight brewing.
Well, fuck, I didn't go anywhere.
Oh man.
Ah, shit. Well, how's it going, man?
It's good, it's normal. It's the present day. I don't know anything.
You doing a call-in show? What are you guys talking about tonight?
We're talking about weirdos. Weirdos. And
yeah, I know a couple weirdos.
Okay. Tell me about it.
Hell, what do you want to know, man?
Give me an interaction, an encounter, a sighting with a weirdo, a freak. Not you, not your brother. Someone else.
Well, I tell you, I hope he made it back in time. He was wanting to go meet D.B. Cooper, and I don't see him anywhere. But anyway, I used to work with a feller. He was as much of an asshole as he was a weirdo, but God rest his soul, I miss him. His name was Harold Wingate. Allow me to illustrate you a picture of this man real quick, okay?
Sure.
He was a Vietnam War vet. This man was probably in his 50s, looked like he was in his late 80s. A wrinkly, looked like he always just ate a melon. His face was all wrinkled up. He was always shuffling around because I think he got fucked up in the war or something. But he was an odd feller. He would like dye his hair black with like shoe polish so you could see it when he gets sweating in the summer, right? You could see it like dripping down the side of his head and folding into his wrinkles.
Oh, yeah.
A few people in life, they'll say they don't give a shit, but they kind of give a shit. This man truly did not give a shit about anyone or anything. He was a crazy guy.
What makes you say that?
Well, I met Harold. We worked at a tire shop back when I was first starting getting into vehicles, you see. Now, he'd been in there for a while. He'd worked there for a while. He kind of gained seniority. I think he knew some stuff on the managers, so they couldn't fire him because this guy didn't give a fuck about anything. We worked in this little, like, quick lube shop. You come in and get oil changes, tire jobs. He did not give a fuck about anything. He would pull a vehicle in, sit in there, hang his foot out the side, smoke a cigarette, and pull it back out. And I'd be like, Harold, what the fuck, man? You didn't even change the oil. And he said, fuck them. They ain't going to notice.
Oh, wow.
He was an old bastard, man. But once you got to know him, he was a lovable guy. He'd start telling you war stories about how when he was over there, 39th parallel, whatever, they'd light fields of weed on fire. And he'd say, man, Jim, I tell you, I've never been so stoned in my goddamn life when we lit up them Vietnamese weed fields.
He sounds like a colorful character.
Oh, man, he was. God rest his soul. He finally passed away. They found him in the break room with a lit cigarette in his mouth. I guess his lungs had filled up with fluid from pneumonia, and he just died in the break room smoking a cigarette.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
I miss him, man. He was crazy. He was dating some chick, but she was like 24. I don't know how that worked out. I think she was buying drugs from him or something, but old Harold, he'd drive his Harley to work. I remember one day he got a call from his little young girlfriend. She said, "Oh, I wrecked my car, but there was a tornado in town. It was coming. It was pouring down rain." Harold said, "Well, I'm going to take off. Young thing wrecked her wrecking Honda." Harold went out there in the pouring rain, was soaked before he even got to his motorcycle, took off, immediately wrecked, broke his foot, and just walked home. He's fucking crazy, man.
That is what an enigmatic figure. Did he ever have any kind of life advice? What do you feel you learned from Harold? Like, did he have some wisdom to impart on you, or was he just kind of
Yeah. If you truly get to talk, there's some weirdos you just can't talk to them. They're on a whole nother level. I get that, but this guy, once you got to talking to him, he would impart little bits of wisdom here and there. I remember one time I'd come back from break, went to Taco Bell, and I had a full cup, got a large, extra large, I think it was extra large cup of Pepsi or something. Set it down on the sink. He saw me set it down. He picked it up, poured it out, and started dipping and spitting out of it. And I said, "Harold, what the fuck, man? That was a full cup. I was going to drink it." And he said, "Listen, life fucking sucks, you see. You're born, life sucks, and then you die." And I carry that with me to this day.
Okay, I see. That was the advice. Life sucks.
Yeah. I remember I just started working there too, and I accidentally drained somebody's transmission fluid instead of their engine oil. And I said, "Harold, you got to help me, brother. I think I messed up here." And he said, "Fuck you. You ain't gonna last long."
Dude, he's Harold. Harold is incorrigible. Good Lord. So
he was a slick feller.
And the end of the story with Harold was
he died on the job with a cigarette in his mouth. Paramedics carried him out.
Did you see it coming? Did you think when you talked to Harold initially this is how Harold is going to go, or did you think that there was something greater in store for this guy and he got cut short, he got snuffed?
Like I said, there's a bunch of fellers, I've said a time or two, I don't give a shit or I don't give a fuck, but I knew deep in my heart, there was a percentile I gave a shit about. This feller truly didn't give a fuck about anyone or anything, and I think he just lived too long. He was a James Dean that didn't die in his 20s.
Well, what's your personal thought about that? Is that what does that tale leave you with? Is that inspiring or is that depressing or what? What's your takeaway from Harold's story?
Every once in a while you'll meet somebody that just blows your damn mind and puts things into perspective for you. And there's nobody like Harold. I've never met anybody like him. I mean, who dyes their hair with shoe polish? I told you he broke his foot. When they carried him out, they saw that he bandaged up his ankle with like old socks. It was all infected and swollen. He never went to the doctor or anything. I mean, this guy was fucking crazy.
And is this like a model on how not to do things, or is there something to be learned from Harold?
I think, if anything, it says that people can just get by. I mean, I don't know. What's the point of anything? You get arrested for smoking weed, but then you get guys like this that just power fuck their way through life and nothing ever happens because nobody cares to stop them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Unique feller.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for calling in.
Yeah, man, I got to go find Tony. I'll talk to you later. God bless.
All right, you have a good night. Okay, I think we're going to call it there. That'll be the call-in show for today. Thank you to everyone who called in. Good hearing from everybody. We're talking about weirdos today. We did so for 2 hours, and that's that. So, I don't know. I'm not plugging anything on the call-in show today. We're just going to wrap it up a little early. We'll be back in a week or two. I've got some call-in show ideas, so there's some interesting developments that are coming up in the future. This was obviously just a normal show, but, keep your eyes peeled for more call-in shows, more stuff happening. Thanks to everyone who called in and told me about their weirdos, and see you next time. All right, have a good night.